David Starr Johnson says, wisdom is knowing what to do next. Skill is knowing how to do it. And virtue is doing it. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I really like this concept that wisdom is knowing what to do, skill is knowing how to do it, and virtue is actually doing it. When we're trying to create a healthy life, when we're trying to make a transformation in our world with our weight or our fitness, our health and well-being, our income, our relationships, all of it, we so often get stuck practicing skills and doing things that ultimately aren't helpful. And so I wanted to spend this time today to ask you, what do you think are the skills of living a healthy life? If you are joining me live, I'd love for you to type it down in the comments, or even if in a replay, say hi, type replay, and then put in your answers. What are the skills that you think you need to be successful, to create the results that you want? And the reason why I ask is there's a lot of myths out there in the weight loss industry, the self-improvement industry. There's lots of traps that people fall into about, I'm just going to have to do this, I have to do this, I have to be strict, I have to be disciplined, I have to be regimented so that I can get to. But I think getting to is the wrong viewpoint. I think a more helpful view is to be living at. How do I live a life that includes the results I want? And so lots of people are probably putting in things like eating healthily, moving more, looking after myself. Maybe some of you are doing extreme things like cutting out the carbs or minimizing my portions, going hungry, skipping meals. So many things that we think we have to do. Overdoing supplements, doing meal replacements, even getting surgery. Now, for some people, those are options that will work for them. But I think for most people, we get all too caught up on the what to do and not how we're actually going about doing it. How will we live it at the end? In the end, my job, my role, I think as a coach, is to help people live more of the life that they want to be living. It's why I called my company Live More Life. I want you to live more life that you want. So here are my 4 key skills. So you can list down however many are, and I really encourage you to make your list. What are the skills for you, do you think, that you need to be successful? I think they are in 4 key areas. I think there's only really 4 skills you need to develop. So I've written them up. And we'll see how we go with the focus. The first one is to design a life you can actually live. As I said, it's not enough just to get to our goal, to be at our goal weight, to be able to run that marathon, or to be earning a certain level of income. It's a life that you can live like that. So many people make the mistake when they're trying to lose weight or get healthier of trying to hate themselves healthy. I don't like this, I don't like that about my body or about my situation, and I'm trying to move away from it, rather than looking at what they're moving towards. Because if we get there in a way that we don't like, then we won't sustain it. We have to think about what things can I do for the long term. And I think there are 4 key things here, that 4 criteria that you need to meet. And they are, it has to be something, whenever I make a change, it has to be something that I actually enjoy, or that I'll enjoy the benefit of long term, I guess. Sometimes in the process, I talk about the river of misery. It's not always fun in the process of transformation. But you can't go without the things you enjoy. The things you enjoy have to be included. We find a way to work them in. It has to fit your lifestyle. You have to be living now in the losing time or in the transformation, in the way that you're going to live for life. In terms of weight loss, losing is the practice for the living. Right? Losing time is practice for maintaining time. Of course, you have to do things that actually get you the results you want, both in the moment and in the long term. So many people try and do things that get fast results. We want that quick fix, right? We want it gone now. But it's not the result we want ultimately, because ultimately we will make that unsustainable, we'll not follow through with it, we'll revert. I sometimes think, and particularly with weight loss, it's what I did back in the day. Before I lost all my weight this last 12 years, I would lose some weight and I'd be good for a little while. I'd eat healthily, I'd do some exercise. And then, because I wasn't making changes I'd sustain, I would get to a goal. Maybe I'd lose 5 kilos, 10 kilos. And then I go, well, that's done. Now I can go back to my real life. And of course, I just went straight back to all of the old unhelpful habits. I just primed my body to store fat next time. So that doesn't work. I actually said my fat went recruiting. I did that once. I lost 10 kilos and then it brought back an extra 10. It went and brought friends. So I put on 20 kilos that time. So it has to be including things you enjoy. It has to fit into the lifestyle, right? So if you're a person who eats out or travels a lot or has lots going on in your life, involves other people, then it has to fit in with those things. It has to get you the results you want, right, for the long term. And it actually has to feel good for your body. I see so many people making mistakes with food, with supplements, or with exercise that doesn't actually feel good, that they eat and then they feel bloated, or they feel uncomfortable, they don't like it, or they do exercise that they, hate every minute of just to get there. You've got to live your life. So are you designing a life you can live? This is key skill number 1. And for many people, this is where coaching help makes such a huge difference, because we can ask these questions. We can look at, what is the life that you want to live on purpose? Speaking of purpose, the second skill is purposeful thinking. So many of us think that our thoughts just happen to us. They are just facts. It's just how it is in the world. So many of us have thoughts about our own identity even that we think are just true. I used to say, I am lazy. I'm no good at that. I have no self-confidence, no self-esteem. I don't like my body. And I used to think that's just the way it was. I had to kind of cross my fingers that I hoped that once I got to goal, then I would feel better about myself. Then life would be easy. Then everything would be sunshine and rainbows. Sorry to tell you, it doesn't work that way. So the good news is we can learn these skills, that we can have awareness, develop awareness of what our thoughts are, be conscious of our thinking process, our thinking habits, our thinking styles, and develop mindfulness so that we can be paying attention to them moment by moment, noticing when they come in, noticing whether we want to believe them, whether we want to follow them, or whether we're resisting them, whether we're fighting them, whether we don't believe them. We have to develop the skill and the knowledge to know that thoughts aren't facts. They're just an opinion. Now, that's controversial for some people, but just because we think something does not mean it is true, right? It just means we're believing it to be true. And the way we can tell is if we ask 100 people, 1,000 people, 1 million people about the same thing, would they have the same thought? Would they all agree that it is true? Or would there be differences? And if there's differences, it's an opinion, not a fact. What I love about that is that also means that with our mindfulness, with this awareness, we can start to choose thoughts purposefully. We can look at our thoughts and go, well, is that thought helping me? Is it serving me? Or what would serve me better? So choose your thoughts on purpose. And by doing that, it means you can actually look at what you're doing and liking your reasons for doing it. This is what I was saying before, that so often we go on a diet because we have to, or we should, or the doctor told us, or, we want to look good in that photo, fit into that outfit for the wedding, or, get back into the bathing suit. Here in Australia, it's getting warm now. We're going into spring. It's almost switched straight over into summer. So a lot of people are telling me that their cooler clothes don't fit the way they used to. So do you like your reasons for creating change? Is it for you? Or are you trying to change against yourself in a way that's undermining you? It's a powerful distinction. So number 2, purposeful thinking. The third skill, emotional management. Again, most people think our emotions just happen to us. It's just the way it is. And then, of course, with that, we spend so much time fighting them. We spend so much time thinking that they shouldn't be there, resisting them or avoiding them, right? How many procrastinators out there are avoiding feeling uncomfortable, avoiding being judged, avoiding putting in the effort? How often do we turn away from what we want to be doing because of fear or doubt? All emotions. And all emotions are here to serve us. So sadness, anger, frustration, all useful emotions, all telling us something important. So the skill to develop here is to welcome and process the full spectrum of emotions. And by process, I mean that's allow it, so welcome it in, and then understand what it's here for. What is it serving you? And choosing on purpose what you think about that, right? They're just delivering a message. Of course, part of the skill is also generating useful emotions on purpose. I talked about fear and doubt before, so sometimes we need courage or bravery. Sometimes we need to feel inspired. Sometimes we need to look for awe or for gratitude. We need to develop compassion and love. These are all emotions that we can generate on purpose when we have emotional management. Most people just think they are at the effect of their emotions. They just happen to us, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so often we stay stuck in them because we try to resist them, we try to avoid them. Right? We think they shouldn't be there, or that it's wrong, or we shouldn't feel that way. One of my coachees said to this morning that they're angry at themselves, that they noticed they were angry, and then they were angry at themselves for being angry. Right? You get stuck in the cycle of unhelpful emotions. And for most of us, these are the reasons being at the effect of our emotions, rather than welcoming them, noticing them, using them, is how we get to overeating, overdrinking, procrastination in the first place. Resisting our emotions is one of the causes that helps us gain our unhealthy habits in the first place. So we need to transform that. So that's a skill to change. And lastly, the fourth skill that I think is really important is the practice of self-care. Actually caring for yourself. I've said so many times during this live already that you can't hate yourself healthy. It doesn't work. So you have to be willing to show up for yourself, to actually prioritize your own needs, your own desires, your own time and energy. You need to advocate for yourself, for your health and well-being in the presence of others. You need to experiment and be willing to fail. Knowledge begins with experience. So you actually have to have experiences. It's avoiding them is not helping. You actually have to have the experience to decide whether it's useful for you, whether you want to keep it, to know how to change it. And being willing to ask for help. So showing up is prioritizing your time and energy, advocating for yourself, experimenting, being willing to fail, and being to ask for help if you need to. Self-care also involves practicing kindness, especially towards yourself, developing that emotion of compassion and love and care for yourself, and actually nurturing yourself through any circumstance that comes your way. These, I think, are the 4 key skills to transform your life. To design your life on purpose, to purposefully think your thoughts, purposeful thinking, to learn emotional management so that you can use them for you instead of against you. They can enrich your experience of life. And then to practice and make normal, nurturing self-care. Which of these 4 skills, and I guess all of their sub-skills, do you have mastery over? Are there any of those skills where you might need some more practice? You might need some more help? I think of mastery as being able to do something so automatically, so well, that it is the default. That, if you like, we can't not to do it. I see so many people in their weight loss transformations, their fitness transformations, their relationship transformations, getting to a place of competency where they can do it. Unfortunately, so many people stop at that level to go, oh, I can do it. And ironically, it often leads them to, well, I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to put in the practice. Right? I get to competency and then I stop. And for most people, that's where they relapse to old habits. You know, as I said before, that's what I did when I lost those 10 kilos back in the 90s. I lost 10 kilos and I went, that's great. I've gotten to my normal weight. By the way, that was still 30 kilos overweight. I had said to myself, okay, well, I can go back to my real life. Don't need to do those things anymore. If I ever put the weight on again, I'll just lose it again. Really unhealthy, unhelpful thinking. And of course, as I already said, those 10 kilos went and recruited another 10 kilos. I put on 20. It wasn't until I learned these 4 skills that I actually transformed for life. You know, I've maintained those 50 kilos for 12 years now. And I've helped so many thousands of people do it as well. So these are the skills that I teach in my coaching. And in fact, if you're interested in learning some more, getting some help with mastering these skills, not just getting to competency, but mastering them so they become the default, so that anything else is a surprising or purposeful exception, then know that I have trainings coming up. So if you're interested in learning more about these skills, all this week, I'm running some free workshops on the 3 mental breakthroughs that you need to reach your goals. These are the things you must have. In fact, I've seen every single person who's succeeded for life master them, and every person who hasn't fail at them. You have to learn these 3. So check out those webinars. I'll put the links in the description below. And this week, my Stop Sabotaging Your Weight Loss course opens for enrollment. This is my 5-week course to help you overcome emotional eating with daily practice and support. It's a powerful, powerful journey. So I'll pop the notes down below. If you do attend the webinar live, I'll talk a little bit more about the course in detail, and I'll have a special offer and a special discount for you. So do jump on the webinar. Do check out my course. We'll reach out for help. It is my mission in life to help people create the life that they want to be living, that they can live and enjoy. I want you to live more of your life. So whether you join me or not, have a think about How many of these skills do you have mastery over? And are there any areas that you still need to practice? I'd love you to let me know in the comments. What will you practice? How will you work on your mastery this week so that you can create the life you want? Of course, this has been useful. Give me a like, give me a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button or sign up to my newsletter on my video blog page so you get notified of every new video and you get a heads up of when trainings and opportunities to work with me become available. For now, I'll leave you with a quote from Ahi Manda, who says, "Thinking is skilled work, and it is not true that we are naturally endowed with the ability to think clearly and logically, without learning how or without practicing." Or perhaps in the words of Jim Rohn, you must either modify your dreams or magnify your skills. I hope this has been useful. Get out there and magnify your skills and create the life you want. Talk to you soon.